Hello.
Hello, Kanika. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Yes.
So, any problem in the previous lecture
No,
regarding AWS Lambda?
no problem. It was
Everything was
very clear.
clear?
Yep.
Yeah, so let's discuss some more points about Lambda.
Uh,
So, we have seen that if we want that our Lambda will do some work, we want to trigger it, right? Without
mhm.
it, we will not know which operation we have to perform. So, now we should discuss that when Lambda triggers means when we should always know when the lambda will trigger. Otherwise, we will not be able to manage the resources, the events that need to be happen. So, if we want that event would start, so we should know what are the conditions in which the lambda function triggers itself or start any lambda function.
Okay.
So let's check what are the conditions or what are the scenarios in which lambda function triggers itself. So first is you can use AWS Lambda to run your code in response to. So whenever we want to use our AWS Lambda so that we can run the code. Okay. So what are the responses or what are the events that need to happen so that we are able to run our code inside AWS Lambda? Okay. So first event can happen. Any event such as any changes to data in an Amazon S3 bucket. So if you do any change in the S3 bucket, at that time our lambda will get triggered first thing. Or
Okay.
an Amazon DynamoDB. Or you have changed anything inside the DynamoDB table, at that time also a lambda get triggers. So if you have done any changes in either Amazon S3 bucket or inside the Amazon DynamoDB table, at that time, at that condition, our lambda will start triggering. Okay.
Got it.
Another, to run your code in response to HTTP request using Amazon API gateway. So what happens whenever you run your code? Okay, as you run your code, you need an HTTP request so that you can connect your code with the Amazon API gateway. Okay, so at that condition, when you want to connect your code with Amazon API gateway so that you can make a network between your server and to the file you want to send your code. Okay, At that time also, we need that our Lambda gets triggered. Okay, you must be familiar with Amazon API gateway. So in that condition, our Lambda will get triggered. Another scenario with these capabilities. So whenever we talk about data specifically, okay, all these capabilities means we have seen that whenever any changes can be done in any of the services that AWS provides, okay, at that time our Lambda gets triggered. So what they're saying that whenever you use Lambda in any of the
Okay.
where you need to build data processing, means you have to process any type of data using any of the Amazon web services, or you can say Amazon web services. Like you are very much familiar with these services. So if you want to do any changes in either Amazon S3 bucket, Amazon DynamoDB, or you want to do process streaming data stored in Kinesis, or create your own backend that operates at AWS scale, performance, and security. Now what they are saying, trying to say, see, understand bit by bit, okay, that it will make you clear. So whenever you want that your Lambda do some processing on any type of data which needs processing, so you can use services like S3 bucket for storing the data. You can create tables in DynamoDB, or you can process streaming data. Streaming data means real-time data which is creating at the real time is known as streaming data. You have seen that real-time streaming is going on YouTube or on Instagram. Okay, at real time is at the current particular time data is getting generated. So either you want to store that real-time processing data in Kinesis as a service of AWS, okay, or create your own backend that operates AWS scale and performs security. Okay, this is also a service of Amazon, in which what you can do, you can check how much well your code is performing, what is the security of the code, or you have to create a backend using this service. If you, in short, if you want anything that is related to data, right, either using S3 bucket, either using Kinesis, or either using DynamoDB, or any of the service of Amazon. These are the Amazon web services. Okay, at that time you can use Lambda function. But to use this Lambda function that you have created, you have to go and trigger these. You have to go and send these messages to these services that, okay, from Lambda function, I want to trigger this S3 bucket. Then they'll be able to connect with the Lambda function. Getting it? So any processing you do on data using any of the services, you can easily include Lambda function into it.
So if I include Lambda functions,
Yeah.
okay, like let's say if I want to upload a PDF on Amazon S3, I can do it through Lambda functions.
Yeah, if you want to connect anything that you have inside your S3 bucket and you want it to run into your AWS machine and you have selected computing service as Lambda, then automatically you can get all the data in from the S3 bucket and perform it in the Lambda function. Getting it?
No, I don't understand quite, because I don't know. Okay, so I can upload documents to S3, but I don't know about I'm confused about, I cannot imagine
See, okay,
about
I'll tell you just see what happens. See, I'll show you a chart. Okay, try to imagine like this. So this is our AWS. Okay, this is our user. Now this is our source bucket. This is your Amazon S3 service. Okay, here we have to create a AMI, and this is your AWS Lambda function and some of the data, or you can say DynamoDB table is there inside your AWS Lambda. Okay, now try to imagine in this way. What happens? This user has inserted something in this S3 bucket. Some data they have inputted. Okay, some file or data they have put it inside the S3 bucket. This is
okay.
Now what happens? As soon as this S3 will see that there is something in my S3 bucket. Okay, so they will detect that something is inside my S3 bucket as soon as the user inputs. Okay, they will create this IAM. Okay, and this IAM will send this information that something is inside the S3 bucket, and this information is sent to the AWS Lambda. Getting it? Try to understand in this way. As AWS Lambda got the data from the S3 bucket, what they will do? They will execute it. Getting it?
They will execute the data.
Execute the code or execute the file, which is because what is the role of AWS Lambda? It is just a compute. It is a computing unit, or it will process the data, right? So you can say instead of execute, it will process the data, whatever data you are putting from S3 bucket to AWS Lambda. Take another example.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's say I have a game company and I have documents in Amazon S3, but Amazon S3 cannot execute those documents, and my documents has to be executed in order for my game to function. So in that case, I will use an additional AWS Lambda to execute my data on S3.
See, what is required that your data should be in S3 first. See, you have created a gaming code here, and this user has sent this code into the S3 bucket for storage. Now, as soon as there is a data inside the S3 bucket, what Amazon S3 will do, they will create an IAM. What IAM does, it helps Lambda to get triggered. Okay, so as the Lambda is triggered using IAM, the Lambda will know that, okay, I have a code file with me. Okay, so they will create a Lambda function here, and then they will execute the code or process the code, or they will start creating your game. Whatever inside this code, they will start executing it or implementing it or running it. Getting this?
Okay.
Now
it's like, for example, like if I am playing Candy Crush,
okay,
it's the same thing. So it's like I passed to level 2. So now Lambda is gonna take from my S3 a document, and then you know what I mean, like
yeah,
like
I'm getting it. What happens?
something like that.
See what happens.
Right?
Just try to imagine in this way. You have two parts of a single game, first and second part. Okay. First, you send this as the request is sent. You have this both the games inside your S3 bucket. Say one also and second also. Now, as soon as the first game is required, Amazon 3 will get to know that this first game is with you. Okay, and they will game to this AWS Lambda, and they will execute the first game for you. Done. Now again, AWS Lambda require your second game also. So they will again go to S3 and check, is there any second game inside your Lambda or in your S3 bucket, right? If they find, they will again take that game and execute it. So in this process goes on.
Okay.
Getting it?
Is that the less expensive way to do it?
See,
is this the less expensive way?
Lambda is the main important reason why we use Lambda is because it is very less expensive. The only reason that we use Lambda, that it is less expensive. Otherwise, people will go for EC2 also, but EC2 is charging a bit more. Okay? Getting it? See.
Yes.
When I'll explain you how billing is done, then you'll understand what is the biggest difference, why we are going with Lambda, not with EC2. What was the requirement? Now try to understand this DynamoDB. See, you have some tables in your DynamoDB. Okay. Now you want to execute this table. What they will do? They will check. This AWS will check that is there any table inside the DynamoDB. Okay. This AWS Lambda will come to this DynamoDB server and check. Is there any service? Yes, they will say, I have a table to execute. So they will go and create a Lambda function here. And then once the Lambda function is created, then they will execute the table. So either you use S3 bucket, either you use DynamoDB, or either you use any of the Amazon service. I'll tell you which Amazon service Lambda can use. Okay. You can easily create, these are the events. This is one event for him to execute this first code. Okay, I was talking about the event in the last class. So we want this event to get triggered by Lambda. That's why we have created this IAM. So as soon as they find that there is an event inside the S3 bucket, the Lambda function will trigger and take it inside the Lambda function and execute the event. Getting it?
Yes.
Little bit clear?
It's like trigger, it's like execution.
No. Actually what happens, say whenever the alarm clock rings, like you have set an alarm at 12, okay, and as soon this alarm clock hits 12 o'clock, your mind gets triggered that at this time I want to do this task, right? Similarly, at 5 p.m. somewhat, you have set an alarm so that you can go for a walk, right? So your mind, as soon as this 5 clocks hits the clock, okay, the alarm is on, your mind get triggered, okay, at this time I want to go for a walk. Getting it? So it's just a piece of information, okay, that this task needs to be performed at this particular time. Getting it? It's like this.
Okay.
Getting it?
Yes.
We'll talk much more about it. Just have little bit more clearance to you. So if we take a complete example, how S3 works with Lambda. So what happens? The user create an object in a bucket. Okay. First thing is that there should be some object inside the bucket. Clear? The object can be the code or any piece of information that you are putting inside the S3 bucket. Then Amazon S3 detects the object created event. Okay. So now as soon as there's something inside the S3 bucket, so S3 bucket will detect that object and create an event. This is clear?
Yes.
Then Amazon S3 invokes your Lambda function using the function provided by the execution role. So as soon as we have created the event, then what S3 will do? It will invoke. Invoke means trigger. Okay.
Got it.
Your Lambda function using the permission provided by the execution role. Here it means IAM that we have provided. In IAM, what we do, we tell that what all permissions, what security codes we can connect with S3 bucket. Okay, who can access this S3 bucket, at what time, or how much data we can access from the S3 bucket using Lambda. Multiple permissions can be invoked in this IAM. Okay, so we require IAM so that we can invoke a S3 bucket using Lambda function. Okay.
Got it.
Then Amazon S3 knows which Lambda function to invoke based on the event source mapping that is stored in the bucket notification now see what happens. Try to understand this with an example. Okay, this is our AWS Lambda. Okay, inside that, this is Lambda 1, this is Lambda function 2, Lambda function 3. Okay, multiple Lambda functions are created. Okay, this is our Amazon S3 bucket. Okay, inside this bucket, there is a event we have created. Now see what happens. AWS S3 bucket knows which Lambda function to invoke based on the event source mapping that is stored in the bucket notification configuration. So whenever you create an IAM, okay, it gives the information, okay, this IAM is related to this Lambda function, and whenever an IAM is triggered, means any S3 bucket that has information that needs to be triggered, okay, or we have to send this event from the S3 bucket to the Lambda. We should know to which Lambda this is associated, to which Lambda we have to send this particular event. So all that information is stored in IAM, or you can say bucket. Inside this bucket, there is a bucket notification configuration. Means the bucket has a record in which it is written, okay, if in S3 something comes, say X comes, you have to send it to Lambda 1. In S3 bucket, if Y comes, you have to send it to Lambda 2. Or you can say, they also have multiple S3 buckets, say S3 bucket 1, S3 bucket 2, S3 bucket 3. Okay, multiple S3 buckets you can also create. So you can say this S3 bucket 1 is anything comes into it, it is associated with Lambda 1. If anything comes in S3 bucket 2, it is associated with Lambda 2. If anything comes in S3 bucket 3, it is associated with Lambda 3. So as soon as the Lambda function is triggered from S3 bucket 1, then it will send the data to Lambda 1. Similarly, if S3 bucket 2 is triggered, it will send the data to Lambda 2 and the process goes on. Clear?
Okay, got it.
Getting an idea what is going on?
Yeah, I'm getting the idea.
Like you're able to imagine how we are processing with the Lambda function, how we are triggering the process.
Well, yeah, I mean, why do we have like lambda 1, 2, and 3 instead of one?
Because we are not dependent. Okay, this Lambda is complete one computer. This is second computer. This is third computer. Okay, something you have to want to implement in this computer. Something you want to implement in this computer. Something you have to implement in this computer. Okay, or you can say there is a process that first process should be implemented in this Lambda 1, second process in this, and third process in this. Okay, there are jumps of pieces of information that needs to be loaded. First, the information should be completely processed in this Lambda 1. Then once it is completed, then you have to go to Lambda 2, then Lambda 3. Okay, it happens, no? Inside your cubicle, you must be having multiple computers. Okay, say laptop 1, say laptop 2, laptop 3. Okay, this laptop is meant so that you can run the code for website.
Okay.
It's for making data sheets.
Got it.
This is for creating the schedule. So every machine has its own specific task. So we should know that this code, This is used for coding purpose. So the S3 bucket, whenever there's a code regarding to the coding of the website, we have to send to this particular Lambda function, right?
Mhm.
Is
Yes.
there something related to this information we have to send to this? Getting it?
Okay.
Clear?
Yeah, it's like to be organized, right?
Yeah, to be organized, to keep the data separated so that there is not a mix of data. See, what happens when there is a huge amount of data? Okay, so what we do, what a intelligent system does, it divides it into pieces of task. First part, second part, third part, fourth part, fifth part. Okay, this is a complete one process, but it is divided into small pieces so that this information can be loaded, then this information will get loaded, then this information. So what happens, we don't have such computers or such machines in which all this current information can be stored. Getting it? So what
Uh-huh.
happens, what the people, intelligent machine systems do, they separate the data accordingly and create multiple virtual machines, or you can say multiple EC2 instance. This is known as, getting it?
Uh-huh.
So this data will go into this piece of chunk will go into this will go into this will go into this. Now, as first, you can say first piece of information is processed, only then you can move to the second process. Okay. So how this second one will know that I need to start my process? When one will trigger the second one. Okay, I have completed my task. Now you should start your task. So this process of telling one machine to another, or one service to another service. Okay, that my task is over. Now it's your turn to complete the task. This is the proper triggering. Trying to,
Okay, so what can you give me a sample of real life? How in what case I can use 3 Lambda functions, like in what real case?
yeah, I'm telling you, no, these are the lambda functions only. Lambda 1, lambda 2. See, what are lambda? Why we are creating lambda? So that we can do processing on of data, no, computing we can do. So in short, when
Okay.
we create a lambda function, in short, when we create a lambda function, we are creating a machine which can do computing. It is exactly same as your local computer you are having. Similarly, if you are creating an EC2 instance, it is similar like to your own laptop, but it is running on the cloud. These are
Hmm.
compute service, which gives you capability to process your data, to compute your data. Okay.
Okay.
So if you think like this, whenever one task is going on, okay, this is task one is going on, and second task can only start when first task gets completed. Okay, at that time, some information should be passed from task 1 to task 2 that, okay, my work is complete. Now you can start your processing. At that time, trigger comes in. Getting it?
Trigger comes.
That I am triggering second event so that it can start the processing.
But why I need 2 instead of 1? The one that can process that easily. That's it. Why do I
See
need
what
2?
happens? Your data is inside this S3 bucket and you have to compute it in the lambda. So as
Okay.
to tell no that there is some data inside me,
Oh, okay.
you can trigger it.
Got it. But in case of if I having two Lambda functions.
Okay, see, you have this lambda 1 and this lambda 2. Okay, your
Okay.
memory data is of 100 GB. 50 GB is stored in this lambda, 50 GB is stored in this lambda. Okay, because the capability that this lambda can take is only 50 GB, and the remaining
Okay.
you have to store in another lambda function, 50 GB. So once this 50 GB work is done, the processing or running of the code is done, only then you can able to run this another part of it, right? First it should run, then another part will run. So this lambda 1 function will send a notification, or you can say will trigger lambda function 2 that okay, my task is complete, now you can start the processing of the other piece of code. Getting it?
Okay. So they don't process at the same time?
It depends on the situation. You can run multiple lambdas simultaneously also. But if one is dependent on another, this is the case when one is dependent on another. That first lambda should work, then second. Otherwise, multiple lambda functions like lambda function 1, lambda function 2, lambda function 3. This can run, these three can run simultaneously, no issue. But on one condition, that they shouldn't be related to each other. They can run separately and simultaneously, like this is running at 1 p.m. So this can also run at 1 p.m. No issue. But if there is a condition that the task inside the first lambda should complete, then only the second lambda can run. So if it is running from 1 to 1:30, then at 1:30 the trigger will get on and say, okay, I have to remember, then this task will complete. After this, they will send a trigger and this task will complete. If they are dependent on each other. If they are independent of each other, they can run simultaneously also.
Okay. So it's like, for example, if my lambda is 50 giga, okay, I have two lambda in order to those 100 gigabytes is going to the first lambda. And
it depends on how much your lambda can process, store, process. Okay. See what happens. Try to generalize it for you. This is your computer. Okay. It has a capacity to store 6 GB RAM. It has. Right?
got it.
Laptop has 6 GB RAM. Okay. But now all the RAM has been utilized. Means your C disk is completely full. C drive is full. You can say. Now you want
Okay, got it.
more data inside it. Okay. So you can use a pen drive. Right?
Uh-huh.
You can use pen drive to store another data information, say 3 GB more. Okay. Now this is your SE bucket, you can say. Okay. And this is your lambda function, which is running 6 GB RAM. Okay. Now you have to complete this 6 GB RAM or remove the 6 GB RAM from your system or the data which is using this 6 GB RAM to include more 3 GB. Right? So as soon as this, your laptop is, the storage capacity is over, you can't add more data into it. You have to first remove this data and then you can add more data to it. Getting it?
Got it.
So similar way, when you are creating a lambda function, if one process is already going in single lambda function, okay, and you want to run another code inside the lambda function, so automatically they will create another lambda function for you. Okay, you come and run the code in this lambda function because this is busy. Or you can directly send this to another laptop. Okay, I am not able to free my laptop. My complete RAM is occupied. You can run your 3 GB of code from SD bucket to another laptop, which can process this data.
Okay.
Getting it?
Perfect. Yes.
See, the picture should be clear, like what you're trying to do, why we are using Lambda. So, AWS Lambda function configuration. How you can configure your Lambda functions. Now, see, whenever you see a practical window of Lambda, what information you should provide to the Lambda so that it can work. Okay. First thing you need to do, a Lambda function consists of code and any associated dependencies. Okay. So whenever you start a Lambda function, first of all, it consists of code, means some information should be there which you want to process. And any associated dependency means that, see, you are trying to run the code of Python. Okay. So it should include the libraries, the important libraries that are required to implement the Python code. So you can say those are the associated dependencies. So whenever you create a Lambda function, it should have a code or the information or the associated dependencies that are required to run that information. Getting it?
Got it. Okay.
Another thing, in addition, a Lambda function also has configuration information associated with it. So every Lambda function has configuration information associated with, means all the configuration, all the important configuration is required by the Lambda function. Okay, you need to select them. Means all the options that are required to build a Lambda function, you have to provide them while you are creating a Lambda function. Okay, initially you specify the configuration information when you create a Lambda function. So once you start creating a Lambda function, okay, so you go and say, I want to create a Lambda function. At that time only, you have to set the informations of configuration also. Like what type of Lambda function you want, what services you want to enable, how much trigger time it should take, all the informations are required to be set while you are creating a Lambda function. Getting it?
Got it.
Now the question arises that once the Lambda function is created, can you change the configuration information of the Lambda function? So yes, you can change the Lambda function configuration once it is created. So Lambda provides an API for you to update some of its configuration. So you can easily use the API to change the configuration once the Lambda function is created. So what happens whenever you go on the services option and then you select compute, inside compute you go to Lambda. Okay, there you will see, as soon as you open the Lambda window, you will see an option called create Lambda function. Okay, as soon as you click on this, they will open a configuration window for you, like what type of Lambda function you want. So you have to fill all that information so that you can easily create a Lambda function. Once the Lambda function is created, now you have a complete window inside which you are working inside a Lambda function. Now, if you want to change anything in this configuration file of this Lambda you have created, you can use APIs so that you can change some of the configurations of the Lambda function you have already created. Getting it?
Yep.
Things are getting clear?
About the API, it's like it's a function.
Yeah, it's a.
Can you explain me more?
Yeah, which will help you so that you can do some changes in the configuration file. See what happens when we build anything. Okay, it contains some features. Those features are known as configuration files, you can say.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you take a mobile phone, okay, it comes with a configuration file, that these are the inbuilt configuration of this mobile phone. Okay, right? Configuration means you can see the features that are already inbuilt in this system. Now what happens after when it is the new one, they have the configuration that is built already inside the mobile, which is built where it was when the producers were creating the mobile phone. These are the configuration files which are already enabled. Now we want to add some more configurations to it. Then generally what we use APIs so that we can add some more configurations or more features into this mobile phones. You have imagined that API files you take if you download any app or any application. Say Instagram you are updating. So what is happening? Instagram has one API file which is being added to this configuration. And now you have this Instagram in your mobile phone because in the configuration file you have the file of API of Instagram. Getting it?
Uh-huh.
It is making much more sense now.
So it's like okay, it's just okay, the word API, what was it stand for? Like API means?
See, API is a file code. Okay, API is a file code which allows you to run any application.
Okay.
So if you any application to be run in your mobile phone or in your computer, you need that API file so that they can run in your system. Either it is API file or ISO file. Okay, ISO file is generally for operating systems, and this API is for software systems, the basic softwares you need, application softwares.
Okay.
Getting it? The icons that you see on your laptop, on the desktop, those icons are application softwares.
So that's the API is the responsible of what do you say? It's the responsible of running the application.
Yeah, they give you the code using which you can run the application.
Okay. Got it.
Getting it?
Yeah. So what you were explaining about Lambda and API. the
Yeah.
API.
So if you want to include any of the configuration service, after you have already built the Lambda function, you can store it using some API files you can add to this configuration information, and that feature or that configuration is now added to your Lambda function also. Getting it? Just
Oh, can you repeat that? Can you
Lambda
repeat that?
function. Just imagine this mobile is your Lambda function. When it was,
Okay.
it has some configurations. For building it. Now you want to add some more configurations. So you can easily use some of the APIs and add those APIs into the configuration file. And now you can have all those informations, all those features inside your Lambda function also. Because you have used their APIs, their code inside your Lambda function.
In what case I can use API for Lambda? Like in what real scenario I need to use it?
See, it depends on multiple things. What type of information you want to process inside that Lambda. We'll see the lab when we will connect your S3 bucket with Lambda. There I'll show you how APIs you can connect. Here I can't show anything, right? I need to tell you inside when we are doing a practical portion.
Okay, but what I know is that API is the one that runs, in charge to run the application. So for application.
Yeah, that only I'm saying no. That if you want to add any application, see what happens when you take a new mobile phone. Imagine this is your Lambda only. Mobile phone, or you can say generally you can say mobile phone. Mobile phone is also a machine, and Lambda is also a machine. Both are used for computation purpose, nothing much more. Okay, when it was built by you or by someone, they have already created some configuration files. They have selected some configuration. Okay, or you can say they have already created some features, right? But now you want to add some more features to it, more softwares to it, or more configurations to it. Then you will use APIs. What APIs will do? APIs will help us to run that application inside the mobile or inside the Lambda, which you have not included when you are creating the Lambda or mobile phone. Getting it?
Okay. Okay. So Lambda is in charge of executing the files, and API is the one in charge of running the file.
In this, I already told you that whenever you want to compute something, okay, you will use two services, EC2 and Lambda.
Okay.
So strictly Lambda is used for computing purpose. It is providing us with a virtual machine.
Okay, got it.
Also, they are providing us the virtual machine in the form of Windows server or Linux server, right? This Lambda is also providing us with a virtual machine, but it is not running on any server that we want to create. Okay, it can either be Windows, either be Linux, either be Ubuntu or anything. Okay, but it is a virtual machine on which we are coming and uploading some code or uploading some application that we want to run. Okay?
Okay.
This concept?
Yeah, I was understanding. Okay. So because I was understanding Lambda as the one in charge of processing, data. It's like the CPU in charge of processing, and it's also a virtual machine as easy to.
What machine does? First, it stores data. It processes the data. It do calculation, or you can say computing on data. And provides us with the result. Right?
Okay.
We require RAM. For processing and computing, we require CPU. For results, we need some application so that we can show the result on the screen. So all these processes are done by either EC2 or either Lambda. I should take a class of EC2 first before Lambda because you're not very much familiar with what is computing right now.
Well, I mean, is on the syllabus that we have, right?
Yes,
Or is not included?
we have on the syllabus EC2 we have. I thought you have a basic understanding of EC2, like what is EC2?
Oh yeah, I have a basic understanding.
Yeah, so similar thing is Lambda, nothing difference, no much.
The thing is that it's like the API. Okay, is the one that runs the
Not
application.
from this technical background, that's why you are not familiar with what are APIs. Okay, they are just some files, okay, which contains code, okay, to run any application. So if you are adding this code to any of the machine, then now what happens? This machine is able to run that application inside itself. Getting it? What is API now?
Yeah, is the one that runs the application inside the machine.
Yeah, so if you want to run something, you have to tell this machine, okay, this is my code, now you are able to run. Because without machine, you can't run this application.
Yeah. Okay, so Lambda, as well as like EC2, but Lambda, I don't know how Lambda can store data. Because if I have S3 to store data, I don't need Lambda to store data.
See what?
I don't know what you mean by storing data in Lambda.
Without storing data, how you will process the data? Inside your, see what happens, and this is your computer in which a laptop you have, okay? So there should be some space inside your data laptop or desktop where you can store some data. Once you store that data, then you process the data. Then once you process the data, you find some results, and then again you store that data, right? You have extra space, say pen drive. You can just store the data here, but you can't do anything with the data without inserting this into this computing machine. Similarly, this is Lambda. This is S3. Okay. So you have need some data to be stored in this, the data you want to process. You have to store this in this Lambda. It will process, it will form the result and give you this output. Then you can take this output and again store it into another S3 bucket. No issue. Getting it? What I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. Okay. So let me see if I can explain in my own.
Yeah.
So I have some data in S3. And I thought like
or DynamoDB.
Or DynamoDB. So I thought that Lambda is going to take data from S3 in order to process. I didn't know that Lambda store the data. And for how long? I mean,
that time we will tell the machine, tell the Lambda. Okay? How much time it is taking to process the Lambda? See, the time of storage is same as the time of processing. The time of processing we can decide in Lambda how much time we need. In EC2 also we can decide how much time we need to store our data inside EC2. Okay?
Oh, I have a question. So
yeah.
Okay. So okay. So let me see. So the time of the store it has to be the time of Lambda processing the data. Meaning,
yes, for that, at least for that time, when your data is getting processed inside a machine, at least at that time you need to store that data for processing.
Oh, okay.
You can't process the data, no, without having a data. See,
Okay, got it. Okay. So after Lambda process the data is not longer there because it's already processed.
no, it is there. Okay, it is there. See what happens. Try to understand. Okay, you have data here. Okay, this is your computing machine. Keep it very simple. Okay, and this is the output. Okay, you have taken this data. Now it
Okay.
is inside this machine. What they will do? They will process the data, compute the data, or do anything with the data they want to do. Then they
Uh-huh.
send you the output of the data. What is the output? And that output is also stored in this machine. So whenever you require the output of this data, you have to ask this machine, Lambda, can tell me what is the output. Getting
The
it?
output means
Means like, okay, we have to create this application. Okay, like we want two boxes on the screen and an empty website we want. Okay, this is the code to create this website. Now we are giving this code to the machine. Okay, that machine use this code and create this website. So this is the data or the input we are giving. This machine is converting this code to the graphical format. So the processing is going on here. And once the graphical, or you can say the website is ready, it is the output.
so okay, so the machine just process the data, and that's it. I mean, we can see the output. The machine is not in charge of, at that time, the machine did the job. It doesn't have to store the data because,
Yeah, you can use this output to store. You can store it again into the S3. You can send it to S3 for storage, and then you can bring another data inside this Lambda and process it. Again, you can send this output to any other source of S3. So this process goes on. See, it's like simply your computer. How you work inside your computer, you need some amount of RAM to store the data. Similarly, this Lambda functions require some RAM or storage to store the data.
okay.
Okay, and based on the storage, they will decide how much CPU or how much processing unit you require to process this data. Okay,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
trying to understand?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so my question is, for how long Lambda stored the data?
For 15 minutes. See, I'm just telling you everything.
Oh, for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
just I'm telling you everything. Just wait, okay? Till here, any doubt you have? Till here.
That's it. I don't have any doubt.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I mean, you said 15 minutes, so I mean, it's gonna disappear after 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll tell you that how it happens, how 15 minutes works. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, just focus on the part that we have just completed. Is that clear?
Okay, got it.
Okay. So
Uh-huh.
lambda function configuration we were talking about. So lambda function configuration. Now what configurations we can set when we create lambda function? Okay, so I'm telling you those means what all features we can add when we are creating the lambda function. So first thing, that how much compute resource you need. like how much computing power you need. That you have to tell when you are making the lambda function. You only specify the amount of memory you want to allocate from your lambda function. So what you have to do, you have to just tell how much memory you want to allocate for a lambda function, and according to that, the lambda function will check how much CPU they want to provide to you. So you have to, what you have to give while you are creating a lambda function, you have to tell how much RAM you need. Once you tell how much RAM I need, they will automatically see how much, means all the server capabilities like CPU, how much processing unit you need, everything they will decide automatically based on the RAM you want, how much storage you want inside the lambda function, so that you can information. And then see, if you are hiring for 100 GB of data, okay, according to that they will decide how much CPU you will require, how much processing you will require. In EC2, all the three you have to specify. RAM also, CPU also, processor also. But here you just have to tell how much information you have to store. Then they will decide how much CPU you require to process this information, how much processing units you need. Okay?
Yep.
Another thing. So now what happens, I have told you that only one thing you have to decide when you are making a lambda, that how much storage you want, like how much RAM you want. So to the RAM, they will select how much CPU or CPU power you will require, okay, to process the data. So it will have the same ratio as EC2 instance. In EC2 instance also, if you select some RAM, okay, they will show you options for CPU powers also in some of the ratios, and then you can, from there you can select which CPU, specific CPU you want. But here, as soon as you create that I want to store this much of RAM, I want this much of RAM, they will automatically select a CPU power according to the storage you are requiring. This is clear?
Yep. You mentioned M3 type.
Sorry.
In the
M3
previous
type
page.
Is a is a type in EC2 instance. When we when they ask in EC2 what type of CPU you want, we always select that free tier version of M3. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So I'm
Yeah.
telling you that, like there we select M3 version. Similarly, according to our data, they will select any of the versions they require.
Got it. Got it. Okay.
Now, what they are trying to say, I told you, once you have created the Lambda function, okay, after that also you can change the configuration of that Lambda function, right? So you can update the configuration and request additional memory. So what happens when we talk about the specifically the memory of the Lambda function? Okay, so the minimum is 128 MB and the maximum is 3008 MB you can have in your Lambda function. But if you want to increase from 128, okay, so you can only increase in the multiple of 64. Like next memory you will get is of 190 MB. Get it?
Okay. Yep.
So it is always in the multiple of 64 and the minimum you can get is 128 MB and maximum is 3008 MB. See what happens when you have created a Lambda function. At that time you have created as 128 MB. Okay. Now there is an urgent need that you want to add some more memory to the Lambda. At that time you can easily add the memory to it. There is no restriction. Getting it?
There is no limit.
Hmm?
There is no limit of adding memory. I mean, the maximum is 3008 megabytes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the limit. Okay.
See, it's like this, that you this is your laptop or computer. Inside them there is 8 GB RAM.
Got it.
Now you require more RAM, so you can increase the RAM. You can easily do the increment of RAM as 16 GB. Right? This is possible. Like inside a machine, you can increase the memory of the machine by adding up a more. Either you add a hard disk, either you increase the RAM, or you can use external devices to add the memory. But the best way is to add the internal memory. This is known as internal memory you are adding. If you
perfect.
use a hard disk, pen drives, or any other sources, they will be the external sources. Like in cloud, the external sources you can count. The external sources will be S3 bucket, EFS, or all these storage devices will be the external sources. Getting it?
Okay.
This part is clear?
Yep.
Another point. Functions larger than 1536 megabytes are allocated multiple CPU threads. Means if you want, okay, any memory location or the memory amount is larger than 1536 MB, the last maximum is 308. But if your data is more than 1536 MB, then what they will do, they will allocate you multiple CPU thresholds. Means they can increase the core power of your CPUs. Like it comes now 4 octal core processor you have a 7 octal core processor. These type of processors comes in CPU, right? So they will increase the core power of your processor as you take the memory more than 1536 MB. Is it clear?
Okay. Function okay, the multiple CPU threads. When you have like multiple CPU, then you can increase.
No, actually, what they're doing, okay, if you have bulk of information with you, to process that information also you need good processing CPU. See what?
Yes.
Try to understand in this way. You have 1000 boxes, okay, and you have to store them inside a truck, load them inside a truck, okay, and this is for storage. So we know that we have 1000 boxes. Now what happened? You want to crush this box. As you put this box, a box inside this machine, it will crush the box and it will be a scrap. Okay? This is a machine which creates scrap and you want to create a scrap of each boxes. So if you want that at a single piece of time, 1000 boxes get into this machine and get crashed. So this machine needs to be stronger so that at a particular time they are able to crash 1000 boxes. Similar way, what they are saying, if your data is more than 1536 MB, okay, then you need a strong CPU so that they can process this data of 136 MB or more. Okay?
Got it.
So they want a CPU with high core power.
Okay, perfect.
Get
okay.
it?
Yep.
Before starting the next topic, let me just revise everything with you. So this is the part when Lambda triggers. Okay, this part is clear. Any doubt in this? Just go through the slide and let me know.
It's very clear.
Lambda trigger, how events are created, we have discussed previously. Now we have to trigger those events. Events can be a S3 service or DynamoD table. Okay. Or you can, if you want a HTTP request to be created, you can create it using Amazon API Gateway service. That time also you can trigger the event. Getting it?
Yes.
What are the capabilities of Lambda? Okay, they can use services like, they can use Amazon S3, Amazon DynamoDB, first process streaming, they can use KNSs. And if you want to create your own backend, they can use AWS Scale Performance for security. So this part is clear, like how S3 bucket works with the AWS Lambda.
Yep.
These are the
that is clear.
Okay, similar thing. This is also clear.
Yeah, that's the only two services that Lambda can work with, like Amazon
There are
S3
multiple services. There are multiple services which Lambda works on. I'll tell you. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just get clear with these things, how it is working. If you are very much clear with the basic, like two services, if you can trigger, multiple services you can trigger. So get clear
Okay.
first.
Okay.
Then AWS Lambda function configuration, like what things we can configure. Okay, so compute resource is the one thing that we can configure. Means we can easily provide the memory that we want, and the Lambda function will allocate it to us, and based on that they will select the CPU and the processing code that we will require. Okay, so they are
Yep.
saying that according to the memory that you are requiring, it is directly proportional to the CPU capacity you will get. More memory you want, more CPU will be given. Okay, less memory, less code processing you need, so they will give you less code processor to execute your programs.
Yeah, it has to be a balance.
Yeah, you can update the configuration request of additional memory, means you can easily add memory to your Lambda function. Okay, but it should be in the form of 64 bits, 64 MB. The minimum is 128 MB you can take, and maximum 3008 MB you can take. Then if your memory, the RAM you're taking is more than 1536 MB, then they will allocate you with multiple CPU thread. Means they will provide you with more core power processors. These things are clear? Any doubt till here you have?
Everything is clear.
It is creating a clear picture in your head, like how everything is going on.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now let's move to the next part. So now, what is the maximum execution timeout in Lambda? Means at what time, how much time you can provide inside to a code inside a Lambda. So you first thing you need to be clear, whenever you are using any AWS resource includes AWS services. Okay, to run your Lambda function, you have to pay the charge. Means if you're using S3 bucket, you have to pay the charge for the S3 bucket. If you're using DynamoDB table, you have to pay the charge for this DynamoDB table. If you're using SNS, you have to pay the charge of this AWS resource. Okay?
Okay.
To prevent so now AWS Lambda has this function that if you want that your Lambda function should not run indefinitely, means for infinity time it should not run. You should specify a timeout, like at this after this time my Lambda function should stop working. You have to specify that timeout inside the Lambda function. Okay? Because if it keeps on running, the charge of S33, all the AWS resources will add, and it will become very much costly.
Oh, they're gonna charge. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I have to.
If you're running your Lambda function for 1 hour, okay, then
Mhm.
you're charging 1 hour for S3 bucket also, you are charging for DynamoDB also, you are charging for SNS also. So adding all these up will
It's
give
gonna be
you a
expensive.
huge amount of money.
That's true.
Okay, so it is benefited that you specify the timeout instead of let the Lambda function run according to itself. Okay.
Okay, got it.
This is clear that as soon as your timeout is over, the specified timeout that you are given, your AWS Lambda will terminate your Lambda function. Means it will stop your Lambda function. Okay?
But I can restart it, right? Like,
Sorry.
I mean, when it says like terminates, it's just if I want. So that means that if I want to use Lambda again, I have to create one.
Yeah, you have to create it again.
Okay. I mean, that's not that much. That's easy, right?
Yeah, that's much more easy than running a single Lambda for an indefinite time. When you require, just create it, they will charge for that. But if you're running a single Lambda for longer time, which includes multiple AWS resources, then it will be a huge bill for you and with no benefit. Because Lambda
The,
charges for you when you run the code inside it. So if the code is running without you are using it, then it will charge you. But if you stop running the code inside a Lambda function, you can again restart it by building a Lambda function. Okay, when you require to run the code. But if you're running the code without watching it or without any prior knowledge or without any timeout, then it is using your resources and creating your bill.
I have a question. So, like, AWS is gonna charge me for the resources that Lambda is using.
Yes, obviously they will charge you.
Okay, like for example, okay,
Okay,
DynamoDB.
I
Okay,
want data from S3 bucket.
okay.
They will charge you for the time you are using S3 bucket.
So is Lambda is using S3 bucket. The AWS is it will be they will charge me for Lambda and S3
Yeah,
because it's like, oh, okay, got it.
they will charge
That's,
you for you to running your code inside this Lambda and for storing something inside the S3 bucket, because these are two different things. Okay.
oh yeah, I know. Like storing, they charge me for storing, but they are not gonna charge me if Lambda use S3 to
They will
take
charge you.
some files. They will charge me.
Yeah, if you store this data inside your S3 bucket and you are triggering S3 bucket inside the Lambda function, then they will charge you for the storage in the S3 plus running that code inside the Lambda function.
Oh,
Charges
okay.
add up. Because here you are creating an S3 bucket. So as soon as you create the S3 bucket here, they will start charging you. And as you run this code here, they will start charging you. So they are charging for your S3 bucket also and for the Lambda function also. Getting it?
So how many charges are there? Storage is one.
See, storage
Lambda function is
adding.
another one.
S3 bucket will charge according to the S3 bucket charge according to the regions. Okay. Lambda function
Okay.
charge according to its charging policies.
So it's two charges.
Yeah.
Lambda functions.
Many services as you add. S3 will see. S3 is different service. Lambda function is different service. If you are adding DynamoDB table, it's another service. You create your S3 bucket. They will start charging you for this bucket the time it is created. Till you don't delete it, they will charge you. Here, as soon as you run the code inside the Lambda, they will start charging you till you terminate this Lambda function. DynamoDB, you are creating a table. For creating the table, they will start charging you till you delete this DynamoDB. Okay. Now what happening? You have combined all these three inside a single function, inside a single application. Now S3 is triggered in Lambda, DynamoDB is triggered in Lambda. So they are charging you, they are charging you, they are charging you. So the charges will be added up. They will say you have stored in the S3 bucket for S time, this is your charge. You have used Lambda function for this time, this is your charge. You have used DynamoDB for this much of time, this is your charge. And this will be your total charge. Like
okay.
This, calculate.
Got it.
Is it clear?
Yep.
Now, see, default timeout is 3 seconds. After, if your code is running, it will stop running after 3 seconds. And maximum your code can run inside Lambda is 300 seconds. That is 15 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
If you are writing a code inside a machine and running it, okay, 3 minutes it will run for default. But if you change, you can change it for 15 minutes. More than 15 minutes, Lambda will not see any application that is taking more than 15 minutes to run or to load inside the Lambda. They will terminate it. Then if you want such applications to run which are taking more than 15 minutes to run, you go with EC2 or any other computing services. Lambda is not meant for you. Because what happens after 15 minutes, the charges of Lambda gets increased. Because you are using Lambda, you are using S3 bucket, you are using DynamoDB. So when these all charges add up after 15 minutes, it gives you more billing. So the benefit of Lambda, why we are using Lambda? Because it charges less, because we are not creating any server or anything.
Yeah. Okay.
It is getting lost. The more time you take, the more charge they will charge you. So the benefit that we are using Lambda is lost. So it's better that in such cases where you want to load heavy applications which take more than 15 minutes to run, go with other computing services rather than Lambda. You can use EC2, you can use Elastic Beam service, anything. Okay?
Okay, got it.
Now, what is the role of IAM? This is used for triggering. Okay, I told you. So what they're trying to say about IAM role, that this is the role that AWS Lambda assumes when you execute the Lambda function. Whenever you execute any Lambda function, this IAM role will be automatically included in the Lambda functions. So all the rules that come in the IAM function, they will be added to Lambda function, and based on which they will run your Lambda function. Okay.
Got it.
Another thing, what services this Lambda function can access? You were asking, no, that instead of S3 bucket and S3 bucket and DynamoDB, what all services this can access? So these are the services that Lambda can access. All the AWS services that are available in the AWS console, or non-AWS services. Non-AWS services includes services which are available locally with you. You're like your own local data set. Means you can easily upload your data on Lambda so that it can process that code. Okay, it does not require that this code needs to be an AWS service. You can use any service that is available on internet rather than AWS. Those services will be known as non-AWS services. Then AWS services running in AWS VPC. So all the services that are specifically running in AWS VPC, services like, example, Redshift, Elastic Code, Elastic Age, RDS instance. All these things you can include inside the Lambda function. Another thing, non-AWS services running on EC2 instance. Anything that is running on EC2 instance in an AWS VPC. Okay, with VPC means security code you should know of the service that is running in EC2. Then you can allow that service inside your AWS Lambda.
Okay.
VPC code you can't access it. Okay. Then AWS Lambda run your function code securely within. Now you were asking that is my code protected, or the information inside the Lambda that you are providing is protected. So automatically that AWS Lambda uses VPC to protect your function code. So whenever you upload anything inside the Lambda function, it is protected by a VPC code. So if they will provide you a VPC code, if you want others to see that code, only then they should have this VPC security key. So it is provided a security group VPC. Then only they'll be able to access your function code which is stored inside the AWS Lambda.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Like AWS can access to an S3 through another VPC?
No.
Oh, because I was thinking about VPC endpoint.
See, See what happens? Every EC2 has associated VPC. If this VPC is not with you, you can't access this EC2. With any other VPC, you can't access. Getting it?
Can you repeat that, please?
See, when you create EC2 instance, they ask you to add the VPC security group.
Yeah.
So at the time of creation, the VPC you have added with EC2, only if you have this VPC with you, then you can access it. But you have created another EC2 instance here, and that has this VPC. You can't access this EC2 instance using this VPC. This is another VPC, and this is another VPC. So if you want to access this EC2 instance, you should have this VPC with you. Otherwise, you can't access.
I have to have an infrastructure.
Sorry?
I have to have an infrastructure to access to another VPC.
Yeah, you have to arrange something. See what happened. We have seen that we have to connect our EC2 MySQL EC2 instance with Windows or Linux. So they ask, please give me the security group. Then only I'll be able to connect it with another server. So whenever you want to access EC2 instance, you require a security group so that anybody else can access this. Without the security group, that is your personal password, you can say, for your data. Nobody can access it without the security group.
I was thinking about, the endpoint, VPC endpoint.
Yeah, VPC. See, VPC endpoints are the destinations. VPC endpoints means the destination to which this VPC is located. Yeah, so what question you have regarding VPC endpoints?
It's like the VPC endpoints and the two services, Amazon S3 and DynamoDB.
Okay, you have two services, S3 and DynamoDB, yes.
And that I can access DynamoDB and S3 through a VPC endpoint.
Yes.
Having a VPC number 1 and VPC number 2. In VPC number 2, we have S3 and DynamoDB. So I can access to these two services from VPC 1 by using the endpoint.
Yes, you can, because you have included inside these endpoints are these only. These your endpoints now. Means whenever you want to access S3 bucket or DynamoDB, you can easily use VPC 1. Okay?
Meaning that if I have Lambda function in VPC 1, I can access to S3 and DynamoDB in VPC 2 by using Lambda functions in VPC 1.
No, you can't connect VPC 2. If VPC 2 is not connected with Lambda, then you can't access. See, VPC is basically associated with EC2 functions. Okay, the security group function. But if you attach this VPC with Lambda function, you give a security group for the Lambda function. Okay, so anything that is inside this VPC, that is inside this Lambda, either S3 bucket or either DynamoDB. Okay, you can't access without this VPC 2. You should have this VPC 2 with you. Only then you can access S3 bucket and DynamoDB. But if you have this VPC 1 here, okay, which is not associated with this Lambda function, then you can't access the S3 bucket and DynamoDB from this VPC. Getting it?
So I can only use Lambda functions in one region, within a VPC.
Yeah, see, you have to attach if you want, you can add you have to add a VPC to it. Okay. Oh, and this VPC security group will act as a security point for this Lambda. Okay. So you can attach this VPC to multiple Lambdas. Single VPC can be attached to multiple Lambdas. See, when I'll tell you the practical, then I'll show you this practical also, where you can
Okay.
attach multiple VPCs. You have done VPC concepts before?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just take some courses.
no,
I took some courses about VPC, VPN, VPC, CloudHub.
we'll discuss this according to how it works with Lambda.
Yes.
Okay. Another thing. How it's maybe this will help you to understand what I was trying to say. See what happens to enable your Lambda function to access resources inside a private VPC. Okay, now say there is a private VPC which Lambda function doesn't has any access. You can't access this private VPC. Okay, but if you want to access this private VPC, okay, you must provide additional VPC specific configuration information. Means you need VPC subnet ID and security group ID. So that, and you have to provide this information to this Lambda function. Only then you this VPC. Getting it?
Let me see. Okay.
Means all the information about this VPC. That what is the VPC subnet ID and what are the security group IDs of this VPC. You have to provide this information to this Lambda function. Only
it can be okay. It can be a VPC in another region.
Yeah.
What about in another country?
Yeah, you can access any VPC in whole world.
Through connected and I can connect it to the Lambda. To Lambda.
Yeah, but you should have that VPC subnet ID and security group IDs. Only then.
Oh, okay.
VPC.
Okay, great. I like that. Okay, got it.
Now, another topic we have different way to invoke, or you can say trigger Lambda function. Like how we can trigger or invoke Lambda functions in different way. Okay. So first way is synchronous invoke, that is push. Another is asynchronous invoke, that is event. And another is poll based invoke, that is pull based. So these are the three ways in which you can invoke Lambda function. Okay, so let me tell you one by one each other. So first, if we talk about synchronous invoke. So how synchronous invoke works? The most straightforward way So it is the most easiest and the straightforward way to invoke your Lambda function. In this model, so what happens? See, you can say that invoke function is type of push function. So as soon as there is a data inside any of the resources, say S3 bucket or any of the DynamoDB table services, right? SNS it has. So what happens? As soon as there is inside the data, it will directly fetch it. This is the one way in which you can take the data or invoke the data inside the Lambda function. Okay, by invoking the API calls. API calls means, see, this S3 bucket will say, okay, I have some data within me, please take it. So it is directly pushing that data inside your Lambda function. First way is this. In this invocation, flag specifies a value of request and response, right? It is type of request response process. S3 is saying, I have a data, please take it, and in response, Lambda is fetching that data from the S3 bucket. You wait for the function to process the event and return the response. So what happens? See, because your lambda function and your S3 bucket is connected. So this lambda function is continuously checking this S3 bucket. So it is in request form. That is there any data in the S3 bucket? As soon as there is data, it will get a response from the S3 bucket. Yes, I have a data inside me. Take the data. So it works in this. So it will wait till the request is completed, and then it will take the response from the S3 bucket. Getting it?
Got it.
Or you can say between two lambda functions also you can say this. See, this is lambda function 1 and lambda function 2. Okay. So one lambda function is invoking, means requesting that is there any information inside you. And in response, lambda function will tell whatever the output will. Is there any information or is there no information inside it? It works in this way. So the services, list of services that uses synchronous functions are, first is elastic load balancer. Will work on synchronous. Amazon Cognito will work on synchronous. CloudFront works on this request response process. API Gateway works on this process. Amazon Lex works on this process. Kinesis Data Fire Host works on this process. These are the services which uses the process of synchronous. Okay, like synchronous invokement, like push event. Getting it?
Yeah. Can you just repeat
Like
what is the word synchronous?
what is
I
synchronous?
mean, I know you explained it, but I didn't understand quite.
What happens? This is S3 bucket, this is lambda. So lambda will continuously monitor. They are sending a request that is there anything in the S3 bucket so that I can compute it or process it. If it will wait for the response of the S3, and then after that they will send a response that these are the documents or these are the part of code inside me. Take it and process it. So this is known as synchronous involvement. Invoke, you can say.
Okay. Got it.
Getting it?
Okay. Okay.
Next two are left, synchronous and pole based. We'll discuss in the next class. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a good night.
Tomorrow we'll have a class at same time. Or we can have a class from 7 also tomorrow. Okay, 7 to 10, 3 hours we can take tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Let's
Friday.
take it.
Okay, 3 hours. Then Sundays off. And tomorrow only please, Saturday is off. So please tomorrow tell me about Sunday for 6 hours class. I told you in 3 hours in the evening and 3 hours in the afternoon or in the night. That 7 to 10 it will be, right? And this can be from 2 to 5 here. Just let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
7 to 10 a.m. like
PM.
PM. Okay, got it.
This is also PM.
Okay. Yeah, I will let you know tomorrow.
PM. This is also PM.
Okay.
Great. This is for Sunday, Saturday is off, and Friday 7 to 10. Okay.
Got it.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.